What's up, guys? What's happening with you? What's happening? I really want to know. How's your life? Put it in the comment section. How are you doing? You doing okay? I really want to know. We're all in this rock together. We're all human. We're all kinship of some sort or another. And I just feel like there is a disconnect with the world today. The electronics, the phone. Ooh, the phone is so evil. And all the apps that are on the phone that push us away from each other, not closer together. Social media. Socializing on media is kind of an oxymoron in a way. You can't socialize on media. You get little tidbits of really nothing. There's no personal interaction. There's no face to face. There's no, you know, just having conversation with somebody and getting to know somebody deep down. There's a disconnect with that. But that's not what I wanted to get onto today. So I'll save that for another video. By the way, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff. Definitely put your comments in the comment section, because, the whole idea of this social media on YouTube is the connection that I can have with my subscribers. So not knowing any of you, the only way we can communicate is through the comment section. So if you have any thoughts on this video, definitely put it in the comment section. And make sure you subscribe also, because as I said in my previous video about my heart attack that I had, there is going to be a bunch of videos going forward on all the wisdom that I've obtained in my life. And they're going to be snippets that I'm going to try and hyphenate the best I can to about 20 minutes maybe, if I can. And let me know too, would you rather have a long extended video, because I'm a blabbermouth, or would you like just to go on 15-20 minutes and go away? Because that's kind of important. I don't want to bore people to death, and I tend to do that if I talk too much. So today I want to talk about the five things that I wish I knew when I was 20. And even if you're watching and you're 30, 35, 40 years old, this really pertains. It's never too late to change. It's never too late. Even if you're 50 years old, I got some time on you right there too. Yeah, so being 64 now, I've come to realize that these things, if there was a do-over, I'm going to do a whole video on that. The decisions that I made in my life throughout my 6 decades on this planet weren't always good. I made some really righteous, good decisions in my life for real, and I'm going to put those in a separate video. The decisions that I made that were really, really good, that I didn't know I was making good decisions at the time. Likewise, I didn't necessarily know I was making bad decisions at the time either, and so that's why I want to go through some of these top 5 things that if I were 20 years old, I would behave differently. I would, everything about me, from my character to my actions to everything, I would definitely do differently. I think on the top of that list, which I'm going to start with number 1, stop being angry. Don't be angry at the world. Back when I was young and impressionable, and there were some bikers and older bikers in the neighborhood, and they had leather jackets or Levi jackets or whatever, and FTW was the big thing to put on a jacket. FTW, the world. So fill in the blank on the F. That's a negative vibe, and I didn't even know it at the time. I'm, very impressionable, 13, 14 years old, and I thought they were cool. I thought those bikers were cool. The world. No. The world is a very, very good place. Sometimes the people in it aren't so good, but the world is a good place. So no, get rid of the negative vibe. The road raging that goes on. You know, when I do something in error, to cut somebody off in traffic or do this or whatever, I can't apologize to them. But when they drive by me and they're like, hey, and they're flipping me off and all that stuff, I'm like, sorry about that. Like, and I'm a man. And back in the day, I used to, and I used to do the same thing. I'd give that energy back to them. You know what? It's not even worth it. Don't be angry. It's a wasted emotion. Not only that, but just like my last video, that's one of the not leading, but it's one of the causes of heart disease. Your mental state and how you react to people. I don't care if it's on the road, if it's in a store, if it's on the phone with customer service and you're getting angry and cussing them out and all that stuff. In a marriage, like all that, everything matters. Like through your life, this isn't just one or two incidents in a month or a year. This is a continuum. So the buildup of 20 years of anger, 30 years of anger, 40 years of, perpetually blowing your top at stupid stuff that you cannot change has an effect on you. Emotionally, physically, mentally, like everything. And so don't be angry. Like literally turn that around. If I were 20, 25, 30 years old, I would walk around smiling more. I would walk around complimenting people more. I do that. Sometimes I'm in a store and I see a woman in the aisle or something like that, and I'll just go up to her. I'm not hitting on her, but I'll go up and go, oh, you make that dress look so good. And she's like, oh, thank you. And I walk away. I just walk away. I'm not hitting on her. Like those are the little things in life. You don't know what people are going through in their life. And sometimes a compliment goes a long way to make their day or their week or their month. You never know. So compliment more. As the saying goes, bark less and wag more. Yeah. Number 2, because I'm going to try and hyphenate this video. I could go on and on and on about the negative vibe and all that stuff, but number 2 is make and develop good friendships. The friendships that you have will go to the wayside if you don't water them. If you don't water them like a plant or a grass, if you don't take care and make sure that there's no weeds around that plant. You take out of that what you will, but weeds can fester. Weeds can grow over that plant and make it disappear. I didn't mean to make it sound like that, but but it's kind of true. Anything that you can do to ensure that you stay in touch with people through your life. Because when you get to my age, you realize how people have dropped off. I could go back 30 years, 40 years to people that I thought fondly of, but I didn't stay in touch with them. And I'm wondering now how they're doing, if they're still around, like if they're happy, like I just wonder about that. I have a friend that I met when I was in the Army at 17 years old, and we are still in contact today. Literally, we are in contact in our phones today. I could call him or he could call me. However, for that whole 40-year period, I haven't been in touch with him. It wasn't a weekly thing or a monthly thing where I was reaching out to him. In fact, years and years would go by. I'd have to track him down. I know where he lives, and I would have to track him down and get back in touch with him. But what I'm suggesting, if you're in your 20s or 30s or 40s and you meet friends, especially if they're good friends, stay in touch with them. Keep up on them. Keep those friends close to you. Because by the time you get to my age, you're lucky if you have 3. You're lucky if you have 3 close friends, somebody that has your back, like somebody that you would count on to come, help you change a tire or something like that. You're lucky if you have 3. So the ones that you do develop over the years, don't wash them away as if they're insignificant. Because I know new friends come along and, people get swapped out and all that stuff. But develop those friendships early and keep them. It's important going forward. Number 3, that's number 2. Don't be materialistic. Don't hoard stuff. Don't, I remember back in the day, if I had enough money, and this is going to age me too, if I had enough money to buy a brand new VCR, I was so happy. Or a brand new TV, or a brand new this, or, whatever. Many times guys are focused on cars. Especially nowadays, you see the young guys, with tuners, which is kind of weird because it's not really a tuner. It sounds like it needs a tune up, but it's not a tuner. It's very loud. You can hear one now. It's very loud. It's obnoxious. It's like it's like a loud mosquito. I'm not getting angry. I'm just saying. Bunch of money is put into those cars. Those skinny little tires and those fancy rims and all of that stuff doesn't get you anywhere in life. It's a waste of money. When my son was very young, he was probably, 6-7 years old, and the spinners on the rims were really popular then. And this guy rolled up in this, 68 Pontiac or whatever it was. It was an old car, but he had it fixed up and he had spinners on it. He was an older guy. And I always told my son not to be materialistic about things. And when the guy rolled up and the spinners were going around as he was stopped, my son looked over and he's like, "Dad, look at that. That's so cool." And I said, "Son, those tires probably cost about $200-300 each. The rims alone probably cost about that same amount. He's got $1,000 worth of tires and rims that he cannot see. He can't see them. He'll never be able to see those rotating around. Only you're looking at them." He's like, "You could see the wheels turning." He's showing off. I'm like, "Yeah, he's showing off for you. He's spending money for your benefit." It just doesn't make any sense. Don't be materialistic. Don't hoard things. Because when you get older like me, now you're reverse mode. You're trying to, why do I have this? Why do I have that? Probably 50% of the stuff I have that I own, I don't need. And I'm doing what I can to get rid of that stuff. Because it doesn't make you, nothing, a Rolex watch or nothing like that makes you a better person. If you're still an a-hole, you're still an a-hole whether you have a watch on or not. If you're driving a Ferrari and you're an a-hole, you're still an a-hole driving a Ferrari. Materialistic type of stuff does not enhance you or those around you. It just doesn't. So stay away. I was never that way. I grew up in LA, and it's a very, very foo-foo, materialistic vibe that you have there all the time, and I hated that. I really did. I abhorred the show-off, the pretentiousness of LA. And I still do. And I still have a $10 watch that I wear, from Walmart, when I'm in my work mode, because I don't want to bust up, a nicer watch or whatever. But the most I ever spent on a watch is probably $100. And that's only because I dive and I want a diving watch. But that being said, the bottom line is that for me anyway, number 3 is not being materialistic. Don't waste money. You are happier. You will be happier if you bring people into your life that are not in your life for the wrong reasons. Men have a tendency of showing off their car and showing off their house or showing off their clothes. Oh my God, the money that men spend on clothes is ridiculous. And some women can tell. If you have a dress shirt on, they could tell if it's a cheesy Walmart shirt or if it's from a high-end place. Women can tell. And my take on it is, if you're coming at me because I have money to spend on myself, that just means you want some of what I have. It doesn't mean that you really like me. I don't know. It's just my take on it. So the materialistic thing would be number 3. And I will go over these, at the end of the video and kind of, give you a reminder of these things, because I think it's important. If I were my age now talking to my 20-year-old self, these are the things that I would tell me. Which ties into number 4. Number 4, save. Whatever you do, save. I don't care if you're working at McDonald's, at the window. 10% of your check of your net check, 10%. If you're making $500, 10%, $50 goes into somewhere, a bank, hopefully with interest, or if you have a 401, if you have a 401k at your work, invest in it. Please invest in it. If you can invest max, if your 401k program gives you can max out at $150, and your employer is nice enough to match that, that's $300 every month. That adds up, that compounds annually, that you will appreciate 20 years, 30 years, 40 years from now. Some of those 401ks can be transferred too, and I don't want to get into finances too much, but what I'm getting at is save for yourself. Pay yourself. Pay yourself. Because if you have a check that comes in and you're paying to the rent, and you're paying to the grocery store, and you're paying to the phone bill, and you're paying to the power bill, and you're paying to everybody else is getting paid, when do you get paid? When do you personally make money? You can't if you don't integrate that savings. The 10% is a minimum, a bare minimum. You have $1,000 check, $100 goes away. Just goes away. I don't assume you're going to make $1,000 a week, but if you are, that's going to be $400 a month. $400 a month adds up over an annual basis quite quickly, and time goes by, and you will appreciate what I'm saying. And if you find it difficult, for whatever reason, to make that happen with a bank or something like that, you could do something simple like a piggy bank. Piggy banks aren't just for kids. You could have a piggy bank. You could make a piggy bank out of almost anything and put a tiny little slit in the top so that you can't steal from yourself. My rule is no $1. First of all, no coins are allowed in the piggy bank. You could have a separate coin savings, right? That's a thing. I do that. But what I'm saying is the piggy bank should only have large bills. So if that 10% or whatever it is, or you get some Christmas money, some extra money that you hadn't counted on, put it in that bank. No ones, only 5s, 10s, 20s, 50s, 100s. That's it. Just keep feeding that bank. Feed that bank. Feed that pig. Feed that pig. Over time, you will see in 5 years and 10 years and 15, 20 years, you'll probably have 10, 15, 20,000 in there. Like literally, you'll have that much money and not even know that you saved it until you open it. That's the simplest thing you could do. The hardest thing you could do is not steal from yourself. Saving is relatively easy, but not dipping is the hardest part. You're 4 days away from payday, or 2 days away from payday, and you're broke, and you're scrounging around for the quarters and the couch and all that stuff, and it's like, I've got some money in my piggy bank. Let me see if I can get a butter knife. And no, don't do that. Don't steal from yourself. Be disciplined. That's probably the hardest thing to do in saving, is discipline yourself. I don't even care if it's a bank account that you're saving. Don't steal from yourself. Have the discipline to not only save it, but not touch it. It doesn't exist. Once you put it in a piggy bank or a bank, it doesn't exist anymore. Period, and stop. I'm just saying. Number 5, and this is the last one so that my video is not too long. Think ahead of the decisions that you make in life. Think ahead about repercussions. There were some times in my life where I didn't have like a mentor. I didn't have people around me to tell me stuff, but I do remember at a certain time, maybe it was my mom early on, that the decisions you make in life will have an effect on you for the rest of your life. And I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. Because I'm not thinking about long term. You see, nobody does when they're young. You're not thinking long term. Decisions will have long term cause and effect. Same as that road rage thing. That could go south really quick, which is another reason not to have negative vibe about you. You're in a road rage and this and that happens, and he comes at you with a tire iron, you happen to have a knife on you, and you're trying to defend yourself and blah, 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 and then something happens and you end up in jail. Those short-term decisions that you make have long-term consequences. And it doesn't even have to be something as profound as that. It could be something minor. It could be quitting the job at McDonald's without a road, without having gotten a job somewhere else. And then what are you doing? You're back at your couch trying to scrounge the quarters to pay your rent because you didn't think ahead. Not staying at a job long enough. That's a big one. I job jumped a lot when I was young, and it was a wrong decision. And there'll be another video about that, some of the jobs that I had that I should have stayed at. Because had I stayed there, I could have gone up and up and up and up. But you're not thinking in those terms when you're 18, 19, 20 years old, 25. Your cerebral cortex doesn't even develop until you're 25. So the decision making that you have at 25 is not even on point. So what I'm suggesting to you, especially if you're 25, 30 years old, think long and hard about the decisions you make. Before you make them, advise with older people. I don't care if it's your mom, dad, uncle, aunt, grandfather, stranger on the street, whoever you can. Hey, let me ask you a question. You're at a parking lot at Home Depot or something like that, and you see an older guy, slowly getting his way inside Home Depot. Hey, sir, do you mind if I ask you a question? What would you do if... Just ask somebody for their advice, because most people want to give their advice. Most people want you to learn through them, which is why I have my channel. Those decisions that you make, I made a lot of, as I said, bad decisions in my life, and I'm going to go through some of those as I go forward on my channel and drop videos here. Those decisions have long-term consequences, which I regret now. I regret. If there was a do-over, if I could go back, let me go back, yes, to that date, 1987. Let me go back there and make a different decision. If there were do-over buttons, I would have 4 or 5, 6 different errors that I would go back to and do a do-over, but I can't. I'm stuck with the decisions that I made because they traversed how my future path ended up being. Yes, arguably I had a little bit of control over that path, but the push, it's like that when that train track, and they moved the track to that way so that train could go that way instead of straight, that already happened when I made the wrong decision. Where I end up going on that track is up to me at that point, but that was the wrong way I wanted to go. I wanted to go that way, but because my decision led me a different direction, you see, and then I have to live with that. So the end result of your decisions, you have to deal with. When you get to my age or even older and they come back to bite you, you'll understand what I'm talking about. Don't let it bite you. Think long and hard about the decisions that you make and the repercussions. Think about, well, what if and what if and what if. Don't think too long. Don't procrastinate on decision making, but give it serious thought. So I'm going to go over them again real quick. I have a little list going on here of the 5. Don't be angry. Be kind. Bark less, wag more. Number 2, make and develop good friendships through your life. And that starts early. It's never too late. I still try and do that at my age. It's a little harder when you get to my age to make friends, but do it when you're early. It's a lot easier because you're more social. Well, we used to be more social. Don't be materialistic. Don't buy things because other people. If there's something you want that costs a lot of money because it's better than something else, then by all means, I'm not telling you not to treat yourself. I'm telling you don't show off. There's no return. The squeeze isn't worth the juice. Back assward. The juice isn't worth the squeeze. It's a waste of money. And then number 4, which ties into number 4, save. Pay yourself first. Pay yourself. You will appreciate your future. You will appreciate you and your future if you do that one thing. If you got nothing else out of this video and you're 20, 25, 30 years old watching this, start saving now. I never thought about 64 years old in retirement. I never gave it a thought when I was younger. Oh, it'll take care of itself. take care of itself. How does that work? And then, of course, number 5, basically is what I just talked about. You know, like, don't make bad decisions through your life. You know, think about consequences on everything you do. Yeah. So that's about it. That is the video for now. I'm going to wrap this up before it hits that 30-minute mark. And there'll be another video following this one very, very soon. The subject matter, I'm not sure yet. If you have something you want me to talk about, put it in the comment section, and I will make a video about it, because I think it's very, very important that everybody has a good grasp on life and life lessons and things that they need to know to make life easier, to make your life easier, to make it more fun. Anyway, have a good one, guys. Later.